The movie starts with a superhero named Deadpool. At the time, Deadpool was riding a taxi on his way to carry out a certain mission. He sits in the front seat next to the driver, an Indian man named Dopinder. They start talking and getting to know each other. Dopinder tells Deadpool about his ex-girlfriend named Geeta and says, "I loved her a lot, but my cousin broke my heart and married her." Deadpool, who had just gotten out of a relationship with someone he loved, says to him, "When you truly love someone, you gotta hold on to them with everything you've got." Dopinder asks Deadpool, "Why are you dressed like that?" Deadpool responds, "Because I'm going to fight some bad guys. I've been waiting for this moment for a year and 3 weeks because I'm going to meet a scientist and a crime boss named Ajax. Ajax is the one who messed up my face like this, so that's why I'm always in a suit." We then switch to Ajax, who's making a deal with a military group, selling them superhumans he created in his lab. Ajax is preparing these superhumans for wars. The deal goes through, and Ajax and his men leave. Now, Deadpool is supposed to go fight Ajax and his gang, but he realizes he forgot his weapons at home. All he has with him is a gun with 12 bullets, so he has no choice but to fight the gang with just that. He tells Dopinder to drive off and sits on the edge of the bridge, waiting for the gang to pass by. After a while, he spots Ajax's gang approaching, and that's when the action kicks off. He jumps into one of the cars and starts shooting everyone inside. He even uses the gang members to cause accidents on the road. Deadpool tries to strangle one of the guys and kill him, but another car full of armed men approaches. Deadpool presses on the gas pedal to escape, holding the guy with him and burning his face with a lighter. The car flips over, and after the crash, many of the gang members die, their bodies flying all over the place. Meanwhile, the news starts covering the incidents. A superhero named Colossus is watching the news, and he hears the reporter say that a man in a red suit is responsible for all the chaos. Colossus leaves his breakfast and heads to another superhero named Negasonic Teenage Warhead, telling her, "We have to go stop Deadpool." They hop on a plane and head to Deadpool's location. Back to Deadpool, the gang is getting their weapons ready to kill him. He takes his time because the road is completely blocked by the accidents he caused. The gang surrounds the car Deadpool is in, but he leaps into the air and uses his 12 bullets strategically, making each one count. Each bullet kills one of the gang members. But suddenly, a guy on a motorcycle shows up and starts firing at Deadpool. However, Deadpool's body regenerates, so the bullets don't affect him. Deadpool tries to kill the guy on the bike, but he escapes. Deadpool tries to conserve his remaining bullets as he dodges through the cars, firing at the gang members and even causing an explosion after shooting a grenade. He celebrates, thinking everyone's dead, but one gang member survives and opens fire on Deadpool. The guy thinks he's killed him, but Deadpool surprises him by coming back to life and shoots his last bullet, taking down 3 guys with one shot. What Deadpool didn't know is that one of the men he thought he killed was a superhuman, and wouldn't go down that easily. Deadpool pulls out his swords to fight this guy, but we don't find out what happens next as the movie flashes back 2 years to tell Deadpool's origin story. Deadpool's real name was Wade Wilson, and he used to work as a mercenary. After completing a mission successfully, his girlfriend Megan hugs him and thanks him, calling him a hero. But Wade didn't like being compared to superheroes at the time because he considered himself a bad person, just a mercenary who gets paid to hurt people. After finishing his work, Wade heads to the bar to grab a drink. In this bar, there was a guy working as the owner's friend, named Wizzle. Wade meets a girl there named Vanessa, and Wade is instantly attracted to her from the moment he sees her. Vanessa also feels the same way about him, so they both decide to go out together on the same day. They spend time together, play, and after they both realize they had a great time and enjoyed themselves, they decide to never part. After some time, Wade proposes to Vanessa, and she accepts. They take a picture to celebrate the occasion, but minutes later, Wade suddenly faints. Vanessa takes him to the hospital, and after the doctor examines Wade, it turns out he has cancer in his liver, lungs, prostate, and brain. Vanessa is shocked when she hears this and asks the doctor if there's any treatment for Wade's condition. Wade sees Vanessa worried about him and feels bad that he's going to die and leave her. At present, Deadpool is fighting an enemy with his two swords. A guy on a motorcycle appears again, and Deadpool realizes it's Ajax. He knocks him off the bike, hits him multiple times on the head, removes his helmet to make sure it's Ajax, and then immediately stabs him with his sword. Ajax is now hanging between life and death. Just before Ajax dies, he tries to figure out Deadpool's identity because he still doesn't know the man in front of him is Wade Wilson. Wade removes his mask and reveals who he is. Right before Wade kills Ajax, Colossus arrives, grabs Deadpool, and throws him away. At that moment, we flash back to the past when Wade was thinking about what he would do after being diagnosed with cancer. Wade is reluctant to go to the hospital and get treatment, even though he knows it won't work, and that he's going to die anyway. But he doesn't want to stay home and make Vanessa suffer more and get depressed. He wants to leave Vanessa with good memories. Before heading to the hospital, Wade goes to the bar to say goodbye to his friend Wizzle. While they're talking, Wizzle hands him a card and tells him, "The guy sitting at that table over there is waiting for you." Wade goes to the man to see what he wants. The man introduces himself as Agent Smith and tells Wade that he works for an organization that can cure his cancer and even give him superpowers that anyone in the world would dream of. But Wade thinks Smith is lying to him and just saying whatever, so he leaves. Later that night, while Wade is alone, he can't stop thinking about what Agent Smith said. He also thinks about Vanessa and doesn't want her to suffer and be sad over his death. So Wade decides to go to Agent Smith's organization to try his luck and take the only chance he has. Back in the present, when Colossus threw Deadpool aside and saved Ajax, Colossus asks Deadpool to join the X-Men team, saying, "You've got great powers, so you should use them for good, not evil." But Deadpool refuses, saying, "The X-Men are for good superheroes who help people, but I'm a bad guy." Deadpool asks Colossus to step aside so he can kill Ajax, but while they're talking, Ajax had already escaped. When Deadpool realizes that, he gets angry and punches Colossus in the face. But the punch doesn't affect Colossus at all, and it hurts Deadpool instead because Colossus' body is made of metal. Deadpool feels like his hand is broken. Colossus hits Deadpool, sending him flying, then cuffs him and arrests him, intending to take him to Professor X, the leader of the X-Men team. However, Deadpool decides to cut off his hand to free himself from Colossus, then escapes. He jumps off the bridge and lands in a garbage truck. He doesn't care that his hand was cut off because his superpower allows him to regenerate his injured body parts. Deadpool remembers the day he underwent the operation that gave him his superpowers. Wade agreed to participate in the experiment that Agent Smith told him about. Wade hoped he could live a long life with Vanessa. But when he entered the lab and saw the people who had been experimented on, he realized he made a mistake coming here and wanted to leave, but it was too late. They quickly strapped him to a stretcher. That's when Wade met the scientist Ajax. Ajax was honest with Wade from the start and told him, "This experiment could cause you horrible pain, but if it works, you'll become a superhuman." Ajax introduced Wade to his assistant, Angel. Ajax started the experiment by injecting Wade with a serum, and this serum altered Wade's DNA. However, for the experiment to succeed completely, Wade needed to be subjected to extreme pressure and torture. Indeed, they began to torture Wade intensely, aiming to turn him into a tough and emotionless person. Wade endured various kinds of torture for weeks. Since he hadn't yet developed his superpowers, Ajax and his team continued torturing him. The torment would persist until Wade either developed his powers or died. Even though Wade had been in this hell for weeks, he still kept his sense of humor, cracking jokes as usual. He joked with the other patients, including one named David, who was also being experimented on against his will. Ajax decided to try a different method to trigger Wade's superpowers. They placed him in an oxygen chamber, where the oxygen was completely drained until Wade felt like he was about to suffocate and die. At the last second, they would return the oxygen to the chamber, and they repeated this process all day. Wade felt like it was the worst kind of torture imaginable. He said, "I don't want to be a superhero. But Ajax told him, "You've got it wrong. We're not making superheroes here. We're creating super soldiers to sell for a lot of money." Wade realized then that Ajax was a madman. Wade entered the chamber, and the oxygen experiment began. And he says, "I don't want to become a super soldier." But Ajax tells him, "You've got it all wrong. We're not making heroes here. Quite the opposite, we're creating super soldiers to be sold for a lot of money." That's when Wade realizes Ajax is a crazy man. Wade is put into a capsule, and they start experimenting with oxygen. Every now and then, he feels like he's dying, like his soul is being pulled out of him, until finally, his superpower starts to show. He gains the strength he has now, but the genetic mutation left his face disfigured like this. The cancer he had completely disappears, though. Ajax then tells him, "I'm the only one who can restore your face and cure the disfigurement, but I won't do it. I'll leave you disfigured, unable to face life, only fit to be a super soldier and a slave." Angel tries to free him, but Wade hits her in the face and hides a match in his mouth, without anyone noticing. Ajax punishes Wade, leaving him in the capsule for a bit longer. After a while, Wade takes out the match, lights it with his finger, and throws it at the machine producing oxygen. When the fire touches the machine, it causes an explosion, destroying most of the lab. Ajax arrives to see what happened and finds that Wade has managed to escape. Suddenly, Wade attacks him. Wade is now much stronger and starts landing some powerful blows, but Ajax doesn't feel any pain. He grabs Wade and tells him, "It's not in your best interest to kill me because I'm the only one who can cure your face." Ajax leaves the fight, and Wade can't hold up because he's exhausted from the torture. Ajax picks up a metal rod and stabs it through Wade's heart, leaving him to suffer and running away from the lab. Just before passing out, Wade sees David still tied up, with the fire consuming the place. After a few hours, Wade wakes up under the debris. It's written here that his new superpower allows him to heal from any injury. But right now, the only thing that matters in his life is Vanessa. He decides to follow her, and tries to talk to her about what happened to him. But he notices that everyone on the street who sees him gets scared of him. Wade worries about Vanessa's reaction when she sees him looking like this and fears she'll reject him because he's now ugly. He decides not to meet Vanessa yet. Instead, he needs to find Ajax and make him fix his face first. He goes to his friend Weasel and tells him everything, and they agree that Wade will track down Ajax's gang until he gets to Ajax himself. Weasel suggests that Wade wears a costume and covers his face so that he doesn't scare people and also so Ajax doesn't find out he's still alive. Wade likes Weasel's idea and decides to become Deadpool. He goes home and starts making a suit for himself. His first suit was all white, covering his whole body. Then he starts taking down the gang to find Ajax's whereabouts. Of course, Deadpool can't be killed no matter how much they shoot at him. Wade kills 2 gang members, but they only know someone higher up in the gang. Deadpool runs into a problem with that suit because, after every mission, it gets covered in the blood of the people he killed. So, he decides to make a new red suit for himself. He tracks down another person higher up and gets closer to Ajax. He keeps upgrading his suit after every mission, adding swords to it, and using his skills from when he was a mercenary to get to Ajax's men. But the problem is that Ajax has completely disappeared, and Wade can't find him. So, he keeps taking down Ajax's men, and no one can stop him. After a few months, Wade manages to find an agent named Smith, and sees him trying to convince a new victim to join Ajax's organization. Deadpool chases Smith down the street until he catches him and starts beating him up until Smith spills everything. He tells Deadpool all the information he needs to find Ajax. The next day, Deadpool gets into a taxi driven by Dopinder, and everything we saw at the beginning of the movie happens. Right now, Deadpool is frustrated because his plan didn't work out as he hoped. He heads back home, and we learn that ever since Wade escaped the lab, he's been living with an old blind lady named Al. Meanwhile, Ajax returns to his hideout and tells Angel about what happened to him. She helps him heal, and Ajax says, "We have to finish Wade off because he's definitely coming after me again." Ajax starts planning how to kill Wade. Back to Wade, he's talking to Al and thanking her for standing by him and supporting him lately. She advises him to go see Vanessa and face her with his new appearance. She tells him, "If Vanessa loves you, she'll still love you no matter what you look like." Wade thinks Al is only saying that because she can't see his face, and if she could, she'd change her mind. We discover that Ajax and Angel found the bar Wade always goes to because Agent Smith met Wade there. Ajax asks Weasel about Wade, but Weasel lies and says, "I don't know anyone by that name." Angel, however, sees a picture of Vanessa and Wade with Weasel, realizing he's lying. She grabs him by the throat, and at that moment, all the customers in the bar pull out their guns on Angel and Ajax. Ajax orders Angel to let Weasel go because they've got what they came for. As soon as Ajax leaves, Weasel calls Wade and tells him what happened. He warns him that Ajax is likely going after Vanessa. He quickly moves to the place where she works and manages to reach her first. When he sees her, he approaches to let her know that he's still alive, but he hesitates at the last moment. He goes into the bathroom, washes his face, and tries to psych himself up to confront Vanessa. Suddenly, one of the employees tells Vanessa that there's someone outside who has information about Wade. Vanessa decides to go out right away, but it turns out to be a trap set by Ajax and Angel, who managed to capture Vanessa. As for Wade, he was heading to talk to Vanessa but doesn't find her there. When he asks Weasel, Weasel tells him, "I saw her leave." Wade heads outside and finds Vanessa's wallet on the ground. Wade realizes that Ajax has kidnapped Vanessa. He returns home with Weasel, extremely angry and upset, smashing things around. Then, he receives a message from Ajax using Vanessa's phone. Ajax demands he meet him at a specific junkyard. Wade immediately starts gathering all the weapons he has in the house and stuffs them into a bag, knowing that facing Ajax won't be easy. Before leaving, he says goodbye to Al and thanks her for letting him live with her. Deadpool needs a little backup, so he heads to the X-Men mansion and asks for help from Colossus and Negasonic to rescue Vanessa. He tells Negasonic, "You guys are the reason Ajax escaped from me, so you need to help me and fix your mistake." Negasonic agrees to help him, and once again, the cab driver Dopinder arrives to take Deadpool on his mission. Deadpool, Colossus, and Negasonic head to the junkyard. On the way, Deadpool asks Dopinder about his ex-girlfriend. Dopinder says, "I tried to get her back, but she refused because my cousin is better looking than me, so I decided to kidnap my cousin and put him in the trunk of the car." Deadpool, hearing this, feels proud of Dopinder. Colossus punches him, of course, disapproving of Deadpool encouraging kidnapping. Deadpool pretends to be serious and says to Dopinder, "What you did was wrong. You should free your cousin." When they arrive at the junkyard, the three get out of the cab and enter the site. But Deadpool realizes he left his bag of weapons in the cab. Meanwhile, Dopinder gets into a car accident, so he can't return to Deadpool right away. Deadpool is forced to fight with just his swords. Suddenly, a large group of armed soldiers appears, and Ajax and Angel show up from the upper level. Angel jumps down to fight them and distract Colossus. He confidently approaches her, but Angel lands a powerful punch, sending him flying. It turns out Angel is extremely strong. Negasonic steps in, using her powers to strike Angel. The soldiers start shooting at our team, and Colossus throws a giant tire at them, taking some down. Angel continues fighting with Colossus, while Deadpool and Negasonic hide to avoid the gunfire. Deadpool waves a white flag and says, "I surrender." The soldiers stop shooting, and Deadpool tells them, "Ajax is a bad guy, and he's using you. I can save you from him if you stop shooting." But Deadpool's plan fails, and the soldiers resume firing, forcing him to fight back. Deadpool takes them down one by one with his sword, cutting them in half and slicing through their heads. While Colossus and Angel continue their battle, their strength seems evenly matched. Negasonic helps Deadpool reach the upper level, where Ajax has locked Vanessa inside a capsule, similar to the one Deadpool was trapped in. Negasonic gives Deadpool a boost, and he reaches Ajax. At that moment, Ajax starts sucking the oxygen out of Vanessa's capsule. He advances toward Deadpool, and the two begin a fierce fight. Deadpool throws his sword at Vanessa's capsule to save her, allowing oxygen to flow back in, and Vanessa starts breathing again. Deadpool, now with only one sword, is at a disadvantage. Ajax destroys his other sword, leaving Deadpool to fight barehanded. Meanwhile, Colossus is struggling against Angel, who is choking him with metal bars. Vanessa manages to escape from the capsule, but Ajax is dominating his fight with Deadpool, throwing him around. He stabs Deadpool in the head with a knife and starts beating him mercilessly. Vanessa sneaks up behind Ajax with Deadpool's sword, but Deadpool, with the knife still in his head, is hallucinating cartoon characters dancing around Vanessa. Ajax gets up and charges at Vanessa, throwing her aside. Deadpool pulls the knife out of his head, and Negasonic uses all her power to rescue Colossus. The resulting explosion causes massive destruction to the area. At that moment, Deadpool recovers from his injuries and charges at Ajax, trying to save Vanessa from the collapsing shipping containers. He decides to put her back in the capsule to keep her safe. Ajax falls from above, and Colossus grabs Angel and Negasonic, escaping quickly. Soon after, the entire place collapses, but Vanessa remains safe, thanks to the capsule. Negasonic helps her out, and Deadpool and Ajax continue their fight. Deadpool manages to break Ajax's arms. He threatens him, demanding a cure for his condition, but Ajax reveals that there's no cure and that Deadpool will remain disfigured forever. Deadpool, enraged, realizes he has no other choice but to kill Ajax. Colossus shows up, pleading with Deadpool not to kill him, telling him to be a true hero and show mercy. But Deadpool ignores him and kills Ajax anyway. Vanessa shows up afterward and hits Wade, upset that he disappeared for so long without telling her anything. Wade asks her to forgive him for not telling her everything and explains that he was just scared to meet her with his disfigured face. Vanessa removes his mask, only to find Wade hiding his face behind a cutout of Wolverine's face. She removes that too, and finally sees Wade's real face. She tells him, "I'll get used to your new look." Wade then asks Colossus and Negasonic to leave and return to Professor X's mansion. Colossus tells him, "One day, we'll make you an X-Man." And that's how the first part of the Deadpool movie ends. Stay tuned for the summary of the second part. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.